96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. A 50% VAT cut on food. Prime Minister Davis says that tax cut will apply to all food in supermarkets to take effect April 1st. The Attorney General says the government is committed to fighting corruption and says the full implementation of the Freedom of Information Act is expected this year. Plus, in business, our Safe and Sound series on this Thursday, looking at strengthening corporate security. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way? Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It's Thursday, January 9th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. That's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight. The latest breaking news from while we're sleeping and the top national and international headlines this morning.
Wake up.
In the overnight, Prime Minister Philip Davis announcing a 50% reduction in the rate of VAT on all food sold in supermarkets. Davis saying that the government hopes the reduction will help reduce some of the pain Bahamians are facing when paying for groceries. He said, quote, beginning April 1st, the rate will be cut in half from 10% to 5%. This new 5% rate will apply to all food in the food stores, including fresh fruits and vegetables, baby food, lunch snacks, and frozen food. However, it will not apply to prepared food in the deli. This rate reduction will also apply to the importation of all items. Prime Minister giving that national address last night at the University of the Bahamas in front of students and other folks in attendance. That date for the implementation of this new VAT rate goes into effect April 1st. He says this will be in order to give merchants time to make the necessary adjustments. But the Prime Minister also said that VAT is not the cause of the high price of food, but for those with the tightest disposable income, reducing VAT by 50% will make a big difference. It's the second time the Davis administration has reduced VAT. In 2022, it cut the VAT rate from 12% to 10%. But in a controversial move, it put the tax on previously zero-rated items in the breadbasket. Davis pointed to summer 2021, months before his party was elected, and said that there was talk of downgrades and currency devaluation. But he said that some others had recommended that VAT be hiked to 15%. But he said, quote, we thought asking Bahamians just gaining freedom from curfews and lockdowns to pay more VAT on absolutely everything across the board would cause real hardship and slower economic recovery, so instead we lowered VAT from 12 to 10%. Instead of going up to 15% as recommended, we went down to 10, but as you know, at the same time, exemptions like the one we had on breadbasket items were eliminated. He said since then, they've worked hard to improve the nation's finances. He said one of the biggest reasons for the high cost of living in the Bahamas is a lack of competition. He said if competition is weak or companies have monopolies, businesses can charge whatever they like. Earlier in the day, with the start of the new legal year, Attorney General Ryan Pinder saying that the Davis administration intends to establish a whistleblower protection framework as part of the government's efforts to tackle corruption in light of a recent U.S. indictment alleging corruption among law enforcement and government officials. Pinder says this move will bring the Ombudsman Act into force. The AG also saying that the Freedom of Information Act will be fully implemented this year. Pinder's comments coming after he was asked to respond to criticism on the issue of the Bahamas Bar Association president, Khalil Parker. Parker, who spoke at the beginning of the legal year as well, said the public has a right to access information as detailed in the law, adding that the continued delay in enforcing FOIA infringes on that right. Pinder on the sideline of the ceremony yesterday saying, quote, we're working on a pilot program and select training session in select agencies because the internal civil service has to be trained on how to respond to requests appropriately. We have an implementation plan and we are working on doing that this year. The Board of Trustees of the University of the Bahamas announcing the selection of 3 finalists in its search for the university's next president. The finalists are Maria Woodside-Oriaki, a UB alumna with more than 25 years of experience in academia, Robert Blaine III, who presently serves as Senior Executive and Director of the Center for LEAD and the Center for Municipal Practice, National League of Cities, and Leroy Hamilton, who has over 30 years of combined experience in higher education. The Office of the University Relations and the selection was made after an extensive national and international recruitment phase that was marked by, quote, robust outreach and a rigorous evaluation of more than 90 candidates. Overseas, a fast-moving fire broke out in the Hollywood Hills Wednesday night, threatening one of Los Angeles' most iconic spots as firefighters battled to get under control 3 more major blazes that have killed 5 people and put 130,000 people under evacuation orders, ravaging communities from the Pacific Coast to inland Pasadena. The Sunset Fire started last night as officials were holding a news conference to update residents on efforts to fight massive fires in Pacific Palisades and other areas of Southern California. The warning that the fire danger remained high. Los Angeles Fire Department Chief Kristen Crowley making a hasty exit after announcing the new fire, and soon after an evacuation order was issued. The Hollywood Walk of Fame was bustling, and the streets around the TCL Chinese Theater and other historic parts of Hollywood and Los Angeles packed with stop-and-go traffic as sirens blared and low-flying helicopters flew overhead to dump water on the flames. Only about a mile away, people toting suitcases left hotels while other onlookers walked towards the flames, recording the fire on their phones. Within a few hours, firefighters had made major progress. A day earlier, hurricane-force winds blew embers through the air, igniting block after block in the coastal neighborhood of Pacific Palisades. Nearly 2,000 homes, businesses, and other structures have been destroyed in the blazes. And the number is expected to rise. The 5 deaths recorded so far were from the Eaton fire. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden canceling the final overseas trip of his presidency just hours before he was set to depart for Rome and the Vatican, choosing to remain in Washington to monitor the response to those devastating California fires. Biden was scheduled to leave today after eulogizing former President Jimmy Carter at a memorial service in Washington. He was expected to go to a 3-day trip to meet with Pope Francis and Italian President Sergio Mattarella and Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, as well as a final face-to-face meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The trip was meant as coda to the second Catholic U.S. president's time in the White House and a final opportunity to showcase the strength of American alliances before he leaves office on January 20th. And from Venezuela, Edmundo Gonzalez has become a beacon of hope for millions of Venezuelans. They want to call him president. He believes he won that office at the ballot box last year. The government of President Nicolas Maduro says he did not, though. The stakes for Friday's swearing in of the man who will govern Venezuela for the next 6 years have never been higher for the country in this century. Gonzalez has never imagined that he would be carrying the weight of the main opposition faction, the Unitary Platform Coalition. Virtually unknown less than a year ago, he's now heard tens of thousands of people chanting his name, but Gonzalez has paid the price for challenging the 25-year rule of the United Socialist Party. Under pressure, he's gone into exile. On Tuesday, he said his son-in-law was kidnapped in Caracas, the capital. The coalition of main opposition parties, in a statement characterizing this as a, quote, forced disappearance for political reasons. The government's centralized press office did not respond to the Associated Press's request for comment. And Puerto Rico's new governor appointing a so-called energy czar to help pull the country out of a power supply crisis. The nomination of Jose Colon comes days after massive, leaving nearly all of its 3.2 million inhabitants in the dark as they prepare for New Year's Eve. Colon is currently the executive director of Puerto Rico's Electric Power Authority, but will step down if lawmakers approve his new position. They're expected to do so in the coming days. In his new role, he will supervise Genera PR, which oversees the generation of power on the island, and Luma Energy, which handles transmission and distribution. As outages persist and officials investigate what caused the December 31st blackout, critics have called on the government to cancel its contracts with the two private power companies. Last year, the average duration of power interruptions per client in Puerto Rico increased by nearly 20% to 1,432 minutes a year, far above the established benchmark of 102 minutes. That's according to Puerto Rico's Energy Bureau. The average frequency of interruptions also increased last year. In sports, Baylor University Bears men's basketball team securing a decisive 68-48 victory over the University of Cincinnati Bearcats in Waco, Texas. Tuesday, Bahamian freshman Valdez V.J. Edgecombe leading the charge for Baylor, scoring 18 points, including a remarkable streak of 11 consecutive points. Baylor now holding a 10-4 win-loss record with a 2-1 mark in the Big 12 Conference, showcasing a robust defense during the first half. Victory marking Baylor's fourth consecutive win against the Bearcats over the last two seasons. Read more about this and Edgecombe VJ in today's Guardian Sports section. Another young, talented Bahamian baseball player catching on with a Major League Baseball organization. Outfielder Janai McPhee has inked a deal with the Chicago Cubs and will be assigned to a minor league club. The agreement, finalized in mid-December, marks McPhee's return to the Cubs organization. McPhee, known for his athletic prowess, previously played for the DSL Cubs Red, showcasing his skills in the Cubs development system. Details on that in today's Guardian Sports section. From the NBA, Jared Allen scoring 25 points, Evan Mobley adding 21, and the Cleveland Cavaliers ending Oklahoma City's 15-game winning streak by beating the Thunder 129-122 Wednesday night in the NBA's top two teams. The Cavs extended their winning streak to 11, improving the league's best record to 32-4, 11-0 against the West, and moving to 19-1 at home. They did it on an off night for leading scorer Donovan Mitchell, who had just 11 points on 3 of 16 shooting. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring 31 points, and Jalen Williams had 25 for the Thunder in their first loss since December 1st. While it's only January and there's a lot of basketball ahead, the game's intensity had all the vibes of a finals matchup in June. There were 30 lead changes, and neither team led by more than 9. And the NHL postponing the Los Angeles Kings home game against the Calgary Flames. That was set for Wednesday, with several massive fires, as we told you, burning across the greater Los Angeles area. The Kings and Flames were scheduled to play Wednesday night at the Kings downtown arena. The NBA's LA Lakers are scheduled to host the Charlotte Hornets in the same arena tonight. The Kings saying in a statement, quote, "Our hearts are with our entire Los Angeles community. We appreciate the hardworking first responders who are diligently working to contain the fire and protect our community. We appreciate the league's support in keeping our fans, staff, and players safe." The Pepperdine women's basketball team also postponing its home game scheduled for Thursday night against the University of Portland at Firestone Fieldhouse on the school's Malibu campus. Pepperdine canceled classes Wednesday, and access to its coastal campus is restricted. The NFL is paying close attention to the potential impact of the fires on two playoff-bound Los Angeles teams and their preparations, and the Rams' wildcard postseason game against the Minnesota Vikings scheduled for Monday night at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. The NFL saying Wednesday evening that if the game had to be moved, it would take place at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, the home of the Arizona Cardinals. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. First look at weather for today. High pressure maintaining relatively dry and cool conditions across the country, but weak and dry frontal trough across the area early today will support increased winds in the northern and northwest Bahamas. Additional reinforcing fronts, as we've been telling you, they're going to move into the area over the weekend and maintain these cooler, comfortable temperatures. But fresh to locally strong winds will accompany the fronts, and that's going to produce some rough seas through early next week. There remains an elevated risk of rip currents, especially along northern and eastern shorelines throughout most of the islands. So for today, for the northern and northwest Bahamas, we're looking at partly sunny conditions with some cloudy periods, mild and a bit breezy, mainly fair and rather cool tonight. Got about a 10% chance of showers. Winds northwest to north at 15 to 20 knots, shifting north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots by tonight. For the central Bahamas, partly cloudy and mild today, fair and rather cool tonight, 10% chance of showers, winds northwest to north at 10 to 15 knots, shifting north to northeast at night. And for the southeastern islands, partly sunny and mild today, partly cloudy and rather cool tonight. Again, a 10% chance of showers, winds northerly at 10 to 15 knots. Temperature-wise today, look for highs in the mid-70s, maybe around 76 Fahrenheit. 24 Celsius Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 62 Fahrenheit. 17 Celsius, maybe a bit cooler for the extreme northern islands. Right now in Nassau, it's about 65. Partly cloudy skies. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook for your holiday, majority rule day, and the weekend coming up in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, wake up.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a
The holidays are here, and Dunkin' is spreading the cheer this season. Let Dunkin' be a part of your celebrations. Warm up with your favorite holiday drinks, grab a box of our famous donuts for your gatherings, or treat someone special to a Dunkin' gift certificate, the gift that always runs on joy. From our Dunkin' family to yours, we wish you a season filled with laughter, love, and a whole latte happiness. Happy holidays! And remember, the Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Pinder is carrying a new line of tile, the Sky series of porcelain. Comes in 4 colors, Sky Noir, Sky Azure, Sky Gris, and this one, Sky Glance. In this particular tile, I think you'll find coin gray, silver gray, cloud gray, and gray. All of these are seamlessly blended to make the Sky Glance one beautiful tile. The Sky series of porcelain comes in 2 formats, 24 by 24 at $5.30 a square foot and 12 by 24 at $5.25 a square foot.
Esso is celebrating the season of joy and giving away a year of free fuel. To enter, visit any Esso service station and fuel up with $25 or more for a chance to win. Plus, there are other exciting prizes to be won. Just remember to write your name, number, and email address at the back of your receipt and drop it into one of the boxes provided. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends January 9th, 2025. So don't forget to enter to win with Esso. Esso and the Esso logo are trademarks or registered trademarks of ExxonMobil Corporation or one of its subsidiaries.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation?
You mean the Ministry of Tourism?
No, that ain't the same thing, buddy. The Tourism Development Corporation helps to develop and grow behemoth businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what I say, boy?
Oh, yeah.
Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do?
What does do?
Check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way? Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC 4224796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning.
Happy Thursday to you. Hope
Same
you're doing
to
well.
you.
Hope you're doing well today.
I'm much better than
Okay.
last week, yes.
Wonderful. Good to hear that. All right, we got a lot to talk about. A lot happening yesterday, and starting the year off on an interesting note. We're going to get to all of that. Also, it's our Safe and Sound. We normally do that on Fridays, the second Friday each month, but tomorrow is Majority Rule Day, a holiday, so we're doing that today. And we're going to be talking with Gamal Nuri with Preventative Measures about strengthening corporate security. Lots of threats all the time, but it seems like this is intensifying, and we're going to be talking about that this morning. So a lot to get to. Let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, oh boy, what a bounty of news there is to talk about. We've got a bit of a movement on the road traffic department and the insurance issue for customers who have insurance. Not talking about those other folks who are causing the problems on our streets. But we'll get to that. And there was also the start of the legal year and lots of promises made. We'll get to that, hopefully. But there was also the national address from Prime Minister Philip Davis last night. And we're speculating that he'd be talking about crime and talking about maybe corruption and how to deal with that. But he was addressing primarily the high cost of living. This is the thing that's really impacting most people and what they complain about daily. Right, Laverne? Especially on shows, on talk shows, is what everyone's talking about, the high cost of living and costs going up on everything. And I think plenty were surprised that the Prime Minister almost immediately got into this and made a major announcement on VAT. We're going to play a piece of the address last night. I want you to take notes, listen carefully. We're going to talk about this afterwards, but this is the Prime Minister from the national address last night, which was live in front of an audience at the University of the Bahamas. Very interesting, very unusual. Take a listen.
I know that high prices exert a terrible pressure on families. I know how stressful it is when there is more money going out than coming in, even when you are working hard, when there is no way to pay all the bills that need to be paid. The rising cost of food is one of the costs that has hit many families the hardest. Even though inflation is now slowing, prices remain higher than many find reasonable or affordable. And so tonight, I am pleased to announce a 50% reduction in the VAT rate on all food sold in food stores. Beginning April 1st, the rate will be cut in half from 10% to 5%. This new 5% rate will apply to all food in the food stores, including fresh fruits and vegetables, baby food, lunch snacks, and frozen foods. It will not apply to prepared foods in the deli. This rate reduction will also apply to the importation of all items previously mentioned. The effective date is April 1st in order to give merchants and food stores time to make the necessary adjustments. Let me make it clear. VAT is not the cause of the high price of food, but for those with the tightest disposable income, reducing VAT by 50% will make a difference. This reduction will not impact our fiscal targets for this year. And I repeat, this reduction will not impact our fiscal targets for this year. You will remember how bleak things looked in the summer of 2021 with all the talk of downgrades, currency devaluation, and tax hikes. In fact, some recommended at the time that our country raise VAT from 12% to 15% to bring it in line with our regional neighbors, because we have the lowest VAT in the region. But we sought asking Bahamians just gaining freedom from curfews and lockdowns to pay more VAT on absolutely everything across the board would cause real hardship and slow our economic recovery. So instead, we lowered VAT from 12 to 10%. Instead of going up to 15 as recommended, we went down to 10%. Since that time, we have worked really hard to improve our nation's finances. Now that we have put the economy onto a stable, secure footing, we are able to ease the VAT rate to provide more financial relief. Recently, the IMF said that we have achieved bringing the economy back as rapidly and quickly as we had was remarkable. That is what we achieved together. But the high cost of living means Bahamians who are back to work are making a lot of hard choices, one after another. Choices like, should I go home after work to take care of a sick family member or take that second shift? Choices should not have to be made. The basics feel out of reach, not to mention buying a home or building security for your future. So many young people feel stuck because they cannot afford to take the next step forward. The same kind of work that once could mean a good life, a decent life plus a little more, now does not stretch to cover your monthly costs. So we need to address the underlying structural issues that have caused prices to be high for so long. We have already started by creating our country's first nationwide energy sector reforms. The high cost of energy runs right throughout the economy. Important parts of our outdated electricity grid that date back to before independence. Some of them are so old that no one makes the parts to fix them anymore. But we can't build a successful economy, and Bahamians can't build their own success stories if we continue to be burdened by an old, outdated system dependent on heavy and diesel fuels. An unreliable system And above all, an expensive system. You simply can't build a 21st century economy, infrastructure. So we are reforming, upgrading, modernizing. Solar panels are going to go up and prices are going to come down. We are partnering with Bahamian companies across our family islands to meet the unique needs of each. We're going to have New Providence first utility scale solar fields. We are integrating LNG. We are updating transmission lines and technology for efficiency, which means cost savings, for reliability and increased resilience during storms. It's a huge undertaking, and it's going to make a huge difference, but the changes will take time. So while that work is happening, we are offering relief on high monthly electricity bills with an equity rate adjustment, a tariff reduction that has already added up to significant savings for thousands of Bahamian households and businesses.
Okay, so Prime Minister Philip Davis with the national address last night, just a piece of it there. But of course, the thing that everyone's talking about is the VAT reduction slated to come into effect April 1st on food items in supermarkets. Okay, so this is lots of people asking questions for a clearer understanding of what that means. Food items, what will be included on that list, what will not be included on that list. And he's saying food stores, supermarkets, but sure. But does that mean the wholesalers too? I know he says that if you're importing it, you will get the 5% VAT as well. Just what will count and what won't count. Laverne, your initial reactions before we open the phone lines and the text line. What did you make of this address last night?
Like, as announcements, I'm never one to jump up and down. I'm always waiting for the shoe to fall, so to speak. And so absolutely a reduction. It is going to be a saving, and it's what people need at this time, however that can happen. But yeah, so for me, I'm like, yes, it is a saving. It's going to be helpful, but I'm also one of them who's sitting saying, okay, so what is, how are we going to pay for this?
Oh, you mean in terms of the country and the bottom line for that's what you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, he did say it's not going to affect projections.
Okay, I get that. But I'm also wondering what's coming around the corner. But not to take, I'm being honest. And that is how I am. Okay, we got this, but what does that mean? Does that mean when I go someplace else, there's going to be an increased fee? But absolutely any type of savings that we can get, average person, they appreciate.
Yeah.
And so if it's only in the grocery stores, I think it's important for us to stress that so that people don't think that when they go to get their prescription filled, when they go wherever else, that there's going to be this reduction come April 1st.
Right.
So
not going to be
make
on
sure that we
cleaning supplies, it seems. Won't be on detergents and stuff.
It's food items.
Yeah.
So when you go to the food store and you pick up a pack of chicken, there's a reduction on that. But there's not going to be a reduction if you also purchase bleach. So it's not going to be a reduction on bleach. And so
it's not going to apply to prepared food. So restaurants, even the
so
deli
if you
section,
go to the deli,
not going to count.
Like the Prime Minister said, if you go to the deli to grab something to eat, if you go to a restaurant, you're not going to see the reduction. And so I think it's important. It's important for us to remember that. But like I said, certainly any reduction, it is ridiculous. I know we have callers and everything, so I'll just tell this story and quickly go. I can't tell you how long it's been that I've actually bought eggs from a food store, a convenience store. We get eggs locally from someone who has chickens. That's where we get our eggs from. Lately, her hens have not been producing. I went to and then someone else said I could get it from. They're encountering the same issue. I'm a
What?
conspiracy theorist, but I won't get into that now.
What, are they on strike
Anyway,
or are they just
it may be in the feed, but
Oh.
anyway,
Mhm.
anyways, so this would have been Tuesday, I believe. I went to convenience store kind of close to home. And the Eggland's best eggs was 7 something. The regular, Dwight eggs are $9 and change.
My goodness, yeah.
I was like,
You
what?
nearly laid an egg, hey? Yeah.
Yes.
It's bad here as well. $7 to $8, I believe. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
$9 and change. And so when I say that any reduction, again, it isn't going to cost egg prices to go down significantly, but it's a reduction and it's a savings, and people need those. But they need a savings. We need a savings now because it is crazy. The cost of food is crazy.
Absolutely. Just want people to know, scheduled to be joining us in our 8 o'clock hour is Minister of Economic Affairs, Senator Michael Halkitis. We'll ask him for some more specifics on this and some of the concerns you raised, Laverne, whether this will indeed impact the bottom line and whether there will be a surprise come the next budget this summer. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to be the election one, so I don't know if they'll go too crazy. But who knows? Stranger things have happened.
Who knows? Right. And like I said, I'm just always one who's like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to also ask Senator Halkitis, if I say that I use fabric softener to soften my meat, can I count that as a food product?
Absolutely. I can answer that. Let me answer that for you.
I soaked the chicken in Downy before,
Like you are being 100% ridiculous.
No,
it's not going to count.
Okay.
It's on food items. I think that the Prime Minister really tried to emphasize that, and so that we don't misconstrue, confuse, walk away.
People do use bleach when they're cooking food, don't they?
To clean, not in the food.
To clean, no, I don't know. Anyway, okay.
Oh, no.
Well, we'll see. Folks, give us a call. The phone lines are already lit up. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay, let's go to the phone lines. We'll get to your text messages in just a bit. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Cousin Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Laverne.
Good morning, Janet.
How are you? How are you feeling today? You okay?
Much better.
You had people worried, Laverne. You had people.
Wonderful, because I can tell you, you're hitting on all cylinders this morning with your utterances. Now, I know you have to be radio correct, even though you're hitting on all the cylinders, but I am the GNN. It don't get no lower than me. I on the ground unless you're having a funeral. Then I can get a little lower. But
right.
So what you said, right?
No, we're listening to you. Go on. Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with Laverne. I could take any break I could get. We can take any break we can get. But what's lurking around the corner? That's the scary part. You understand? What is lurking around the corner? How far are we in closer to the election? How far? How close are we?
I mean, it has to happen by next year.
We don't know. No, Dwight. Let's say
no, we don't know. We don't know. But it has to happen. It has to be.
Okay, because I call it a break, but a fool's goal. I call it a fool's goal because they're more than likely there's something lurking in the dark around the corner. On April the 1st, that's a fool's errand. You understand? So I am skeptical and accepting of it, like Laverne. But it would be very interesting this morning to hear what Papa says and see Alan Johnson. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay, all right. And that is an odd time to start something. Hey, that's a Tuesday this year.
Right.
Okay. Well.
Can you imagine? April? You know that announcement? April?
The most elaborate,
I'm not saying that's going to happen.
Elaborate prank in the history of the world. Oh, boy. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, how's it going?
And good morning, Laverne.
Good morning.
Yeah. Sorry, with this flu. But hey, Dwight and Lorraine, I listened to the Prime Minister, right? I really didn't get nothing from it because, he's saying the one tongue how great the economy is doing and how the international whatever is giving him kudos for doing such a wonderful job in a small period of time. But on the flip side of that, right, you only could have come to the Bayman people and reduce what to 5%, and we still have to pay what on bread basket items. I mean, so where is the economy doing so well that it ain't trickling down to the regular Bayman? Huh? Because nobody really could feel this economy doing well. I mean, when I say nobody, the regular Bahamian economy doing as well as the Prime Minister is uttering. So I have to also agree with Lord, right? Because, this is only another political ploy. Because, you listen to the Prime Minister, he said when he was in campaign that, the FM was going to increase their tax. They are saying and let them know until they get in power. And then this man get in power and he did all of the things what he claimed the FM was going to do. Right, so how do you trust a man like this? Whatever he says, right, it never come to fruition. And then one other statement I heard him said too, right, it's going to take some time for these things to happen. Well, there's no deadline on nothing. I mean, there's no date on when this is going to take place except for the April 1st date. That's the only date.
So I hear your concerns. I have some advice though. You go back and listen again. Right? So, as he said, the VAT, any bit, as Laverne said, any bit is going to help, but it's not the significant contributor to the high prices.
Right.
And he talked about it. Competition is one of the factors, the things that are happening in the world. Other factors, there are many things that are happening that are causing the prices to still be high. And those are the things that he said will take some time. They're trying to, we had guests on before to talk about what they're doing, trying to encourage importers to get the source of their items from other parts of the world. Hopefully that will bring down the prices. But that's what he's talking about. Those things and some other things they have in the works will take some time before you really feel it. This is an immediate thing that they can do to help a bit. That's what he is saying. But listen to it again and take the blinders off for a little bit, just to listen to it. It's not outrageous what he's saying. Or think that more can be done, sure. But I think a lot of the things you're raising, he explains and answers. So try it again. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? No. Are we having issues with that line? It seems, no, we're not? Okay, so people just... Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Good morning to both of you fine folks.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. I just would like to update you. I have a Dr. Berg. He's an endocrinologist. He's a very good, close personal friend of mine. I follow him a lot. And I'm doing a course that he has online. And would you believe it or not, that the endocrine system uses small amounts of peroxide and bleach to kill pathogens. Now, he knows what he's saying because he's a pretty smart guy. So Donald Trump was onto it, but I don't think he really said it the right way. All right? Okay. And I don't think we understood it the right way, but that's exactly how the power of the endocrine system is. And I think we should really study that system because if we do, we won't be falling ill because of all the sugar. We won't be using it anymore. And, all these complex carbohydrates and multi-toxins, all that stuff that we eat that we believe is good for us is bad. So look at Dr. Berg, Dr. B-E-R-G. Call him up. He may be able to help you out. Ain't right?
I hear you. Okay.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air live.
Hey, this is Doc. Voice along with you and Laverne, Dwight.
Good morning.
Dwight.
Good morning.
Good morning. Before I say my point, right? Last night, right? Your radio station was off.
Working on, we're sorting it through. We've got a technical challenge that we're addressing. Thank you, though. We appreciate it. We appreciate your patience. Hopefully, that'll be resolved in a moment, any moment now. Thank you. Anything else, Brayman?
Laverne. Hello?
Yes? Hi.
Yeah. What y'all should do in Freeport, or what people should do, right, is use the, or do you use the chicken laying mash?
I don't know what they use, to be
Because
honest
if you
with
use the
you.
laying mash, the chickens would lay egg much more often.
It sounds painful.
Okay.
No, it's not
No?
painful.
Okay.
It's for that purpose, for the chickens.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Maybe they need a good talking to, Laverne. Maybe somebody needs to,
We have another caller, Dwight?
motivational speaker
We
or
have another-
something.
Do we have another caller?
Maybe that's a show. You got to find out what's going on with the chickens. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne.
Hi.
Good morning.
Dwight, any reduction in any tax is saving to the average man. Now, the Prime Minister did mention that 5% in the food stores, but many of us, we also buy food from the wholesalers.
Right. That's
So
what we're
the question
saying.
is,
Yeah.
do the 5% also apply to the food when we purchase it from the wholesalers?
We're going to ask
That's
Michael
the question,
Halkitis about that.
So, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll ask
He went
about
to
that because we're not
specified food
sure.
stores. So we want to know if that's wholesalers all around or just the food stores. So
Yeah.
hopefully, they can clarify that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. And this call. Good morning. You're on the air. You are live. Hi. You're live on the air.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Good morning. Good
morning.
Belated season greetings to you and your guests, and your family. Listen, please allow me just to go back yesterday or day before yesterday. I was kind of disappointed, Dwight, that you didn't give it more life when one of the gentlemen, one of your callers said they should bring a balance in terms of the road. Because the roads, Dwight, sometimes you could get charged with due care attention, looking out for potholes instead of watching where you're going. That's how horrible the roads are. Now, with that being said, fast track to your present conversation. I have an idea. Why don't the government place more emphasis into agriculture? We have schools. I remember when I was in school, we used to grow carrots. We have sufficient schools. One school just focus on carrots. Another school just on tomatoes. Another school just on chickens, and so on and so on. And they can sell them and in turn help the school themselves with little extracurricular activities. That's my contribution.
Okay,
to what they
interesting. Thank you very much. I think quite a few of the public schools are definitely doing that. I don't think they focus on one product, but quite a few. We did a show last year with the Ministry of Agriculture and the fair they had, and we spoke to many of the schools. They're doing it, not enough to feed the country. But definitely it's starting, and they're hoping to spark an interest in those students to become farmers. And there needs to be more encouragement, definitely. But efforts are underway, it seems. I don't know if anybody in the chicken school. I don't think anybody. You go to that chicken school, and so I don't know if it'll be one product. I don't know.
Dwight, you seem to be able to quickly come up with that. I think you would be one of those who would tease them. Look how quickly you came up, because that never even crossed my mind.
Carrot lovers.
Were you a bully?
Well, who was it?
See, this is
No?
coming up. Dwight, see, all of these things, they're coming up really easy for you. Like, you're not trying to, it's like rolling
I just
right
know
off
the
your
nature
tongue.
of our people.
This is cause
I know
of
the nature of
concern.
our people. You go to the chicken school, you're going to have a
I'm
problem.
Sorry, did you say you know your nature?
The nature of our people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that you might want to
just coming up with those a
diversify,
little too easy for me this
diversify your offerings. That's all. If you're going to do this, let's take another call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning and pleasant day.
Hi.
And I am so thankful for your co-host, so that you.
Good morning.
Right. First of all, thank you very much for the 5% on food, and I I dare say it will be and must be on wholesale as well, because it's all food. I would also ask that it be long and lasting. This is the Bahamas. It's better in the Bahamas, so we don't need to hear that we have the lowest VAT. No, we have even the lowest VAT, and it needs to stay that way. It's very good, long and lasting. It's early. Perhaps if Kamala Harris had done something similar, she might have remained, or she might have been in better contention.
What?
But next thing I want to see that we want to have a cost of living allowance adjustment or a freeze on all prices for pensioners. We're going in the right direction, and I hope we can stay there.
That's the case.
We want to know it's long and lasting.
Retire
long
next
and
week.
lasting.
But okay.
Thank you.
I hear you. Interesting. Okay. Thank you very much. I had another call before we get to your messages. Good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Hi. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, Dwight, and good morning to you, Laverne.
Hi.
How are you doing, Seattle?
Morning.
Yes. Well, I haven't listened to the Prime Minister's speech for the second or third time yet, but I put it in a number of categories concerning his bragging about the economic progress, cost of living reduction initiatives, supposed energy reforms, health and social support, agriculture and trade diversification, and consumer empowerment. For me, it's going to take a minute, not today, but for us to discuss the implementation of the 5% and the supposed consumer app. But for me, if you remove those, it was more hope as dope than actual policies that actually has been impactful to the Bahamian people or can give clear directions as to the impact it will have on the Bahamian people. I think they play they're playing on the ignorance of the Bahamian people and actually how economies work. So he put emphasis on the 50% VAT reduction on food. But the question is that when you consider there can be over 50,000 UPC codes, produce, dairy products, meat, poultry, baked goods, snacks, beverages, canned food, baked food, packaged food, frozen food, all of these different things. Or even for individuals to know which of these things will be impacted based on the UPC code, or just generality. And so does this go under this column and that column?
I think it's as long as it's edible. Now, if it's edible only for humans, that's also a question we need to ask. But I mean, I think that can be pretty simple.
But that's but this is the question Alcides can ask. Does this include even snacks and
yes,
all various? I'm saying that the logistics, because this ties right into the supposed app that he's talking about, the price comparison app that he's talking about. It also speaks to the supposable trade, what do you call it, the trade diversification, because navigating the new reality of geopolitical and logistical complexities and establishing new trade routes for the Bahamas is not a simple task. It's easy to say, but our integration into the supply chain is not something that you can change even in 2 years or 3 years in how it may be implied inside of this. And so the competition legislation that he talked about, yes, the monopolistic and dominant businesses in existence, but the app alone is not a solution to this for what it is. He spoke about housing and urban development, the supposedly rent-to-own program that technically really does not exist in the manner for which he was promised, and in fact may be illegal in the way it's being executed. I haven't known any of being executed, but the way it's proposed to be executed. And so what happens is you had a blend of feel good, see what I did, and the question is for the people where the impact is in their lives. Are they economic growth that was said that happened since his election? You understand? Have we seen any improvement while reducing the fiscal deficit supposedly from 13% to 1% 0.3%. Are we feeling it? Are we seeing things? Because changing the physical deficit is simply this, Dwight. I need to fix the roads, the schools, and everything else. And so instead of borrowing money to fix those things, right, because I'm not bringing in the income, I just don't do them. So because I didn't pay them, it's like me saying, look, hon, I tell my wife, look, we have a fiscal deficit. We don't have a large fiscal deficit because I didn't pay all the light bill and I didn't pay all the electricity bill and I only paid part of the mortgage. It doesn't change the requirements that is necessary for growth and development.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Alan. That's a lot there to think about. Thank you. Okay, let's get to your text messages before we take a break. This person says here, I find these guys comical at best. They raised VAT from 7.5% to 12%, then 10% when they came in, and now reducing it to 5%. That because elections are approaching. Well, you're a little. I hear you. Okay, but So the Prime Minister is trying to sell us the dream that now he is the savior of us all by now losing the VAT when he could have taken it off the breadbasket items in the first place. Items in food stores are simply just overpriced. 5% is nothing. Take VAT off medical services if he wants to score brownie points. Why are women paying VAT on sanitary items? That's a text. Make sure you get... what's happening here? Okay. Somebody please let the Prime Minister know it's a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. He needs to consider adding fruits and vegetables to the breadbasket items and take the... Okay, so remember now, folks, most, right, Laverne? Most fruits and vegetables are now duty-free. Right? So when you talk about the bread, what is this? Why? Okay. Anyway. Okay, there's, at the moment, no... Anyway, okay. I agree with the chairman of the Free National Movement. The Prime Minister is just faking and pretending to care about us, pretending to feel our pain. Make sure you get your mask. You said something is coming from the DPM, from the Office of the Prime Minister this morning. Well, the Economic Affairs Minister. Yeah, okay. There's lots of jokes here. The Prime Minister's address was a speech to his administration's incompetence. He's only handing out Band-Aids to vascular injuries. There is no long-lasting solution to the vexing problems of the country. Dwight, you are soaking your meat in Downy is a clear example of why you can't eat from anyone. Yep, that's very true, Laverne. Very true. Be very careful out there. While I applaud the Prime Minister for reducing VAT to 5%, that merely means that if I pay $50 for my food items, I will now pay $47.50, but will still pay the 10% on meds and other items, including my BPL bill, which is still quite high. Well, there's no VAT if your bill is under, what's the number now? Is it 300 or is it 400? There's no VAT if your bill is under a certain level. Come on. Anyway, it won't affect projections because they've increased some fees already and will tax the business community even more, like how they've been making businesses pay business license on projections for the upcoming year. Dwight, your Trump-altered ego is on full display. Trump-altered. Downey to wash your chicken, that's better than drinking bleach to combat COVID. Even if wholesalers are included, it's only a $20 savings on a $400 purchase. Well, $20 that could go to something else that you need, maybe, I don't know. Any break is a break, and 5 cents VAT off food is better than 10 cents VAT on every dollar. But this is nickeling and diming cleverly. What about taking VAT off pharmacy and insurance products? Our people would see big health benefits from a caring government. Okay. I hear that's a very common thread in the messages, Laverne. Everybody asking about that.
Yeah.
To a Tuesday afternoon show, Canada's finance minister resigned, saying that Trudeau's plans to address inflation were just gimmicks. I'm somewhat concerned with the criticism from the F&M on government policy because I'm skeptical that they can do better. Though I would like them too. I don't think the government has the ability to address prices by reducing VAT or customs duties at this time. Not directly. Their back is against the wall due to bad fiscal management, and they need the money. What the F&M can do and must do is be intentional about weeding out corruption everywhere. Corruption may see us, rather than giving out a $10 million building contract, sending out a $20 million contract, or redoing poor quality work and wasting $10 million. After the wastage, the government must then raise taxes, fines, and fees to adjust for the missing revenue. Is weeding out corruption easy? No, but it has to be done, or every year more and more increases will be needed to fix our corruption black hole. And more on this. What have I started? Why did I bring up that Downey thing? A doctor friend of mine told me told me about the
Very good.
Oh gosh,
Very good.
I've learned my lesson. Now everyone's
Very
talking
good.
about Trump. Oh gosh, they told me about numerous MAGA believers who ended up in the ER post-Trump with his bleach kills COVID announcement. You really have to wonder where common sense and blind faith separate. Jesus just asked me to believe he died and rose again. That doesn't hurt me, even if it turns out not to be true. What now? Jesus never in 2,000 years asked me to drink bleach to save myself. Okay. Took a big turn there. Cost-effective farming at the country level is a fairy tale. What do you need for mass-scale farming? Reliable, cheap electricity, cheap water, feed. The cost of the inputs will determine the cost of the outputs, and the cost of inputs is astronomical. On to the Golden Yolk program, where eggs were supposed to be locally produced. I have seen some eggs locally Bahamian, but they are about $11 a carton. Okay.
Yes,
know
I was
that's
talking about
agriculture.
that the other day. What happened to that program?
Yeah, I know they said it wasn't going to be immediate, but I mean, I think by now it's supposed to be up and running, but we haven't heard much
Right.
recently.
You haven't heard anything.
We'll see if Alcides knows. The PLP only is talking to antagonize the people to win the election. They are clearly not serious about the issues. It's all about emotions and trickery. Wow. This is, I guess, in response to something C. Allen said. Boy, people can make anything complicated. Hey, UPC codes? Really? That's a text. Dwight Laverne, the PM can do the following. 1, remove VAT on all items and services for pensioners 60 years and over. 2, remove VAT on medicine and medical procedures across the board. Okay. Great strategy at UB for Prime Minister's address. Really? Great marketing strategy. Was it? I mean, I think a lot of people were like, well, I know I was wondering, what is the point? Did you get it? Do you think it was a great marketing strategy, Laverne?
It was lost on me.
I mean, it was interesting.
It was lost on me. That strategy was lost on me, and I'm sure someone will be able to explain why it was done there. Why
You
he's
sure
supposed to
someone will
do
be
it
able to
there.
explain? I don't know if anyone will be able to explain.
Yeah, I'm sure and why I'm saying that is because the decision was made to have it there, and so whatever that thought process was, why we're going to have it here, but.
Okay. I thought the Prime Minister's delivery was pretty good. Okay. This person says...
prepared though, right? I mean, it wasn't like this was off the cuff. This was prepared speech.
Sure.
And so, and he does very well with those.
Yeah.
Dwight
he
does well.
Was VAT increased to deal more with the debt? Has the debt decreased enough now to lower VAT to less than what it was before they came in? We're going to talk about that a bit more. VAT and duty are separate taxes. Please don't confuse it. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
And so we need to remember that as well.
Very much, as I'm saying to everybody. So when you talk about fruits and vegetables in the breadbasket items, I mean,
they're not.
These days,
we need.
Back when there were, there's price capping for the merchants on breadbasket items, and maybe that's what the person meant if you did that. But that's going to be very challenging because prices change with produce, right? Based on the season, and there's all kinds of things. So I'm not sure why the text just said it, but the duty is off most, if not all.
Yeah, but then why is a watermelon still $11?
Right, because where did that watermelon come from? Is it from the Bahamas or is it from California? And now that the place is on fire, what difference will that make if you get your produce from California, right? We got a lot of issues coming.
Strawberries almost $10.
Right.
Why is one apple costing 70 cents?
Could get worse. Could
Right.
get worse as a result of that. If the Prime Minister took the 10% off the breadbasket items, we still would be ready to fire him. He still believes that we still believe that he's a poor excuse for Prime Minister. Wow. Oh boy. Okay, that's rough. Hey, let's take a break. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
An arrow to the heart. I never kissed a mouth that tastes like yours. Strawberries and something more. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Lipstick on my guitar. Fill up the engine, we can drive real far. Go dancing underneath the stars. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile. I wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all day and all night. Yeah, you got me singing like, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're closer, give me the shivers. Oh,
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
It is time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. A reminder of the roadworks on Blue Hill Road South. This is paving work between Hillcrest Drive, heading south to the intersection at Zion Boulevard. That is scheduled to take place between 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. each day, and should be going on until at least Friday. So keep that in mind if you're in the area. Avoid the area if you can, or follow the posted traffic signs. In your real-time traffic right now, we are seeing a number of hot spots. Not looking pretty out there for you. We've got Independence Drive, heavy traffic westbound, backed up almost from the Blue Hill Road side if you're heading westbound to East-West Highway and East Street. So that's not pretty. You might want to avoid the area if you can. Try Robinson or Soldier Road. Tawny Booms Darling Highway is looking busy as well, westbound to Bahamas Games Boulevard, and Blue Hill Road is backed up as you try to get over that hill to Tawny Booms Darling Highway and Independence Drive. All the way to Carmichael. If you're heading northbound, you can see that heavy traffic. Carmichael eastbound busy to Blue Hill Road as well. And then Milo Butler Highway, as usual, heavy traffic from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tawny Booms Darling Highway if you're heading northbound. Glastonbury might be a better alternate route for you, but still slow-moving northbound traffic for you there. We've got Robinson Road, heavy traffic between Soldier and Marathon, especially the closer you get to Old Trail if you're heading westbound, and Prince Charles Drive at the major intersections like Beatrice Avenue. Slow-moving westbound traffic west of that intersection heading to Robinson. And Burnett Road seeing some slow-moving traffic, especially near the schools in the area. That's westbound mainly, and Eastern Road, you're not moving from just west of San Suzy, Johnson Road at this hour. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. Reminding you to start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here and the news on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Let's face it, life is hard, but your healthcare doesn't have to be. Give yourself peace of mind with LAMP plans at Doctors Hospital. Sign up today and enjoy the low-cost advantage. Get up to $5,000 in credit limit for non-covered services and 2 free nutritional consultations. Choose your plan today by visiting doctorshosp.com/LAMP. We make healthcare easy.
This holiday season, give the gift that lasts a lifetime. Financial freedom with CFAL. Whether you're looking to take the stress out of holiday giving or plan for the future, CFAL has you covered. With our suite of savings products, you can start with a minimal upfront investment and low monthly contributions. Get a jump start with 2025 financial goals with CFAL Savings Express. Or give the little ones a head start with the CFAL Secure Your Own Future with the CFAL Blue Marlin Retirement Plan. This holiday season, make your gift count with CFAL, where small savings lead to brighter futures. Visit CFAL.com today to start building wealth so you can live well. Happy holidays from all of us at CFAL.
The Water and Sewage Corporation is rolling out new digital meters designed to give you more accurate readings. With advanced technology, you'll be able to monitor your water usage in real time, get more accurate bills and early leak detection to avoid costly surprises. Better service starts now. Watch for our installation team in your neighborhood and get ready to experience the convenience of digital meters. Follow us on our social media platforms for more information. Digital meters from the Water and Sewage Corporation. Innovative, convenient, and designed for you.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
To the heart, I never kissed a mouth that tastes like yours. Strawberries and something more. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Lipstick on my heart. Fill up the engine, we can drive real far. Go dancing underneath the stars. Ooh yeah, got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile. I wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all day and all night. Yeah, you got me singing like, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're closer.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. And now at 8:22, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. High pressure is going to maintain relatively dry and cool conditions over the islands, but the movement of a weak and dry frontal trough across the area early today is going to support increased winds in the northern and northwest Bahamas. So additional reinforcing fronts are going to move into the area over the weekend, and that's going to maintain comfortable and cool temperatures. But fresh to locally strong winds will accompany these fronts, and that's going to produce some rough seas through early next week. So there also remains a risk of rip currents, elevated risk of rip currents, especially along northern and eastern shorelines throughout the country over the next few days. So your forecast for today for the northern and northwest Bahamas, partly sunny with some cloudy periods, mild and a bit breezy today, mainly fair and rather cool tonight. For the central islands, partly cloudy and mild today, fair and cool tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, partly sunny, mild and cool tonight. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs in the mid to upper 70s, around 77 Fahrenheit. And about 25 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 61 Fahrenheit for the extreme northern island, 63 for the most of 17 Celsius. In your extended outlook for your holiday, majority rule day tomorrow, Friday, partly sunny, a 10% chance of showers. Saturday, variably cloudy. And by Sunday, partly cloudy to cloudy in the northern and northwest Bahamas, partly sunny in the central and southeastern islands. For the start of your work week, Monday, partly sunny. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints has got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
I went to a banquet in paradise. Everyone dressed elegant, the ballroom fixed up nice. The meal was served buffet style, you never seen such a spread. And people from many nations, they lined up to be fed. The Englishman, he takes some fish and chips. The American grab fried chicken, that's his native dish. The Frenchman bypassed the food, he head straight for the wine. The German just click his heel and Billy played with feel. Then along come a Bohemian, a mountain on his plate. He act like he never eat before and he ain't to eat no more. He had 5 pieces of chicken, macaroni and cheese, roast beef, pork chop, rice and black eyed peas. He had cucumber, crab salad too, potato salad and coleslaw, just to name a few.
Radio 96.9, Dwight Strachan, along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. And we continue talking about the Prime Minister's national address yesterday, the big announcement about VAT being cut on food in food stores. We have lots of questions about this, and we're very pleased to have with us the Minister of Economic Affairs, Senator Michael Halkitis, to answer these, we hope. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year. Great to be here, and I hope I can answer the questions that you have as well.
I'm sure you're the one with the answers. Okay. All right. So just overall, many people were wondering, Laverne wondering this as well. I mean, yes, this sounds great. Any savings we can get is good, but is there going to be a shoe dropping in July, in the summer, when we hear what the budget plan is?
If any shoe drops, it will be even more positive news. But I would like to say, Dwight, and good morning as well to your co-host, Ms. Gardner, is morning. That The whole theme of the speech was recognizing that the high cost of living continues to have an impact on the Bahamian population, from the high cost of electricity to the high cost of housing, other items, and indeed food. And even though a lot of these issues are driven by the fact that in agriculture, for example, we import much of what we eat. And so, there's high prices that the Americans complained about that, led them to also being felt. We're also feeling that here in the Bahamas. But there are some things that the government can do. And so back in, for example, July 1st, 2022, we reduced duty down to zero on a number of fruits and vegetables. We reduced, for example, the duty on chicken eggs from, I think, 30% down to 5%. Chicken parts, wings and leg quarters, just to get very granular, down from 30% to 10%. And so the government has been to impact the cost of food, doing things that are in its power, i.e. taxation. Now, this latest move is for all food items in the grocery store, we're reducing the rate from 10% to 5%. That includes all food items in the grocery store. I know that, there's been a lot of debate over the past 3 years and even before about, VAT-free on bread basket. The bread basket is 22 items. So the VAT would be 5% on those, as well as all of the hundreds and thousands of other items in the store. Mm-hmm. And so this is an indication, as stated by the Prime Minister, that we are now in a position to do more in terms of bringing relief in that area. The last thing I would say on this, before I open up for questions and follow up, is we saw a lot of the debate. I've seen some of the exchanges on, for example, the price of eggs. Eggs is being used as an example, as an indication of how high prices are. And I saw on social media recently someone saying that eggs are $7 plus, and so if you say if you save 9, okay, if you save 5% on that, it's really not a saving. And therein lies the argument, is that we're importing the bulk of it. That is being impacted by supply and demand. I think a few years ago there was the issue of bird flu, and then people making sure that their retailers get before they export. And so we are the victims of a situation where we do not produce enough locally in order to mitigate against that high import price. Mm-hmm. And the Prime Minister also spoke about some efforts in agriculture. Now, I know we've been talking about increasing agricultural production, I think, since before independence, but hopefully this gives an additional impetus for us to really buckle down and do some of the longer term things in terms of more local production that will help to fight against those prices.
Right.
And so I guess the point I wanted to make is the tax adds a bit to the price, but the underlying circumstances make the prices high in the first place.
Yeah. All right. So with all that you said, so even the Prime Minister alluded to it, that the VAT is not necessarily what's driving up some of these prices, especially when it comes to food. So how much of a difference will this actually make in your estimates to the price of your food bill?
Well, definitely it will bring it down. We have estimated, for example, our technical people within the ministry have estimated how much revenue would be foregone with this move. And we feel that that is something that is manageable, that will not impact our fiscal position and our forecast. But how much it impacts each individual will depend on their habits, et cetera. Definitely, instead of 10% at the register, there will be 5% added. Now, to your point, I think your question begs a bit to impact the cost.
Right.
Because
people are saying, why not
is
just
what it is, and the tax is on top. And so the Prime Minister spoke about trade diversification, things like looking at different markets. Is there a possibility to do something to impact the cost to ship items into the country? Are there possibilities working with our partners in the U.S., wholesalers that supply the country, to eliminate some of the middle costs? So, for example, if items are being shipped into the U.S. for onward shipment onto the Bahamas, is there a way to eliminate some of those costs in the middle there? And longer term, in terms of production, investing in agriculture, and again, as I said, I think sometimes we might feel that we've been talking about this for a long time, but investing in agricultural production so that we're producing more of what we eat. And I think he spoke about training in the area of agriculture, encouraging more people to get into agriculture, so that incrementally you increase the number of, for example, eggs, fresh vegetables, et cetera, that you produce, so you're not so much impacted by the high cost to import. So looking at the entire supply chain, something, for example, if you're buying lettuce, it's produced in California, it has to be shipped across the U.S. to Palm Beach or Miami, then shipped here to the Bahamas. And if you're in the Family Islands, it's even worse, because then it has to get on another boat and go there, and then there's overland travel, et cetera. And so that's sort of a longer term fix that would impact the underlying, global situation improves, so that, we can see prices coming down. It's a difficult proposition. Because once prices go up, it's very, very difficult for them to start to come down.
Folks are already asking, though, if reducing the VAT to 5% on food items won't affect you so much, why not just reduce everything to 5% across the board?
Oh, you mean the whole VAT across the board?
Across the board.
Well, when you do these steps, you have to. I say to people all the time, the government has to be funded, and so. It is, not at this time contemplated that we can go down to 5%. Now, sometime in the future, if, certain things fall into place, economic growth and some of the other things happen, like, we recently implemented the minimum corporate tax on large multinational enterprises. We are confident that will have an impact on our revenue positively. We are doing a lot of work in terms of large taxpayers and identifying areas in the country previously where we weren't collecting what we should. We have a task force, for example, looking at private islands of cruise ships and the activities that go on those islands. It's massive. And how do we incorporate that? But at this time, it's not. We're not in a position to say overall, you drop the VAT rate to 5%. That is something that we can aspire to sometime in the future, but not at this time. But I would say that the fact that just to stress that it's an incremental step. We've been making these incremental steps since the administration came. Our view is, as the economy continues to improve, as our fiscal situation, the finances of the government continue to improve, we'll be in a position to bring more and more relief to the public.
I'm sure many people are wondering why only food items in the grocery stores. Why not detergent or cleaning supplies? Because those are also causing the bills to go higher. Tell us about how that decision was reached. That it would be food only.
The idea was food. When you think about the basic necessities for individuals, food. And so, Prime Minister, he's been pushing for this and pushing us to, do the studies over the last, I would say, about 18 months, 2 years, getting the information together to see exactly what we can do. And so the idea is food. Food is a basic necessity for existence. And so a positive first step would be, okay, let's see how we can from what the government can do in terms of the tax, just cut it on food, because the thinking is that is a basic necessity.
Mr. Halkey,
I would
good
say
morning
that, sorry,
again.
Ms. Gardner, before you continue, the things like, let's say powdered detergent is on the price control list. So that is monitored by the price control department, where there's a fixed margin. And there was some recent last year, I believe it is, some reduction in the liquid detergent. So there is some sort of monitoring there in terms of, what price control can do. Yes, Ms. Gardner.
Yes, good morning. As you are considering and contemplating, and you said that maybe the shoe that will perhaps we can consider reducing VAT also on medication. That's just, for you to for consideration. But let's go back
that
to
is a point.
eggs.
That is a point that's well taken. And again, what we are doing, there's a few things that we are doing. The government has, in the last budget exercise, and whether in 2024, we sought to, what we're doing is we are bringing the administration of what the Ministry of Health, Public Hospitals Authority does in terms of medicine, making medicine available, and what the National Insurance Prescription Drug Plan did in terms of making drugs available to the public, bringing that under single management instead of having NIB managing one program and the Ministry of Health managing another program. We're bringing them under single management. We anticipate that will cause us to realize savings. And then we're also looking at how do we actually decrease the cost of drugs that are available. How do we source them? Ministry of Health is doing some work in that area in conjunction with Pan American Health Organization. How do we make the cost of the I don't want to say let's say the original drug cheaper, so that when you add a VAT on it, you're adding to a much lower price, or eventually removing it altogether. So all of them reduce the cost. And as I said, this is a step. Our view has been, as you continue to improve and find sources of revenue and improve your collection, so that you are any reductions that you do would not endanger your fiscal position. So we're looking at that as well, and we're looking at areas to continue to be able to bring relief. And so we have the mid-year budget coming up in February, and then we go to the main budget in May. And I think I can safely say to the Bahamian people that we'll be looking to just continue to bring more and more relief in terms of what the government can do in its taxation.
Laverne?
Okay. Also, Dwight and I were talking earlier, we mentioned it, and we're going back to egg. I don't know if you were listening in, because I was absolutely floored at the price of eggs in the store.
It's ridiculous.
What has happened? What is going on with that, the announced and proposed Golden Yoke program?
Yeah, it's ongoing. There was a bit of a delay. My understanding is that recently acquired a feed mill, an additional feed mill, because the existing one would not be able to support the existing farmers and those that it has to service, and the Golden Yoke program, with the additional animals that need to be fed. And so that is ongoing. I understand that is being erected as we speak. And so we should see an acceleration in that program, and hopefully up at full speed before, sometime this year. But there were a few delays. It's back on track. And I think we can look forward to a successful program. We think it's going to be a winner.
Okay, so we're paying lots of attention to the words that the Prime Minister used, saying that this cut is for food in the food stores. People are asking if this means wholesalers. and what counts as food. But let's break it down.
Yeah.
Wholesalers are included in this?
They are, and if you, for example, if an individual goes to, I'll just use the example, if you go to Miami and bring in a pallet of food, instead of being charged 10% when you import it at VAT, you'll be charged 5%. So individuals bringing it in as well. And so that is even, better. What the language in the food stores is to make sure to differentiate between food sold in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, it's food sold in a food store, but if you buy a meal from a deli that's in a food store, that's not covered. Or if you buy a sandwich from the deli, that's not whatever they sell. The meals that they sell, prepared food in the deli section of the food store, that remains at 10%. Other food, 5%.
Okay. Oh boy.
And it applies to the wholesalers as well. And so we believe that would that saving would cascade down straight to the consumer.
Yeah. Are you concerned that this, we've had this situation before back when items were zero rated in the stores, but are you concerned that with some items in a supermarket now that will attract the 10% VAT and others with 5%, there could be confusion, that it'll be hard for consumers to track whether they were charged the right amount of VAT? Any concerns about that?
I think we have to have an education program to make sure that consumers are informed. And so we understand that. The change comes into effect the 1st of April. That gives merchants an opportunity to adjust their systems in terms of their points of sale and their accounting, et cetera. And it also gives us an opportunity to continue to educate the public about things just like you said, and how they can be sure that they're being charged the correct rate.
Yeah. All right. Something you said is very interesting just now. Okay, so is this a temporary solution?
No.
Or is this what you're going to be doing?
This is the only reason it will be temporary is if we go lower, when we take the opportunity, hopefully sometime in the future to go even lower. But this is not, let me just give a little bit of context, because I know sometimes the public might be cynical and jaded. Our view in coming into office was Prime Minister enunciated a 4-point plan a 4-pronged strategy to recover the economy and the finances, promote growth in the economy, improve revenue administration, that is, do a better job of collecting taxes that were out there, not collected, contain costs, and find new sources of revenue. And we believe that if you did all those things in conjunction, then we wouldn't have to raise taxes. And so, contrary to a lot of the commentary out there, the government has been really on a track of reducing. What we have increased, for example, the departure tax affects the vast majority of people who are non-Bahamians. And so our view is, and some people would say, well, why didn't you do it sooner? Our view is, as we recover, the foundation of the finances is more solid, then we can pay a dividend back to the Bahamian people, so to speak. And so when I said earlier that, the Prime Minister has raised this issue. And so when we were studying it, we studied the impact, what would we lose, so to speak, in terms of tax revenue, and look at other areas where we've had improvement, where we've had some gains and forecasts we're having gains in other areas. And then so when we say, okay, we can make this decision, it's not a temporary decision, it's a decision that's made. That's the way it is. It's not a temporary decision. I know some people might say, well, it's a ploy and after the election, it's going to go back up. No. This is what we can support at this time. And as I said, we're eager to be able to look for other ways to bring further relief to the public.
Right. You said it earlier, you couldn't reduce it on everything, but just so you can say it for folks to really get it, why not reduce even the deli, what you get from the deli? Why not include that in this?
Because then you get into prepared food and cooked food, and then you go to the restaurants and the other cafes, etc. This was an attempt to bring a cost saving to people who go shop in the store for food to go home and cook. Traditionally, things like restaurants, they do not enjoy the same sort of concession. So again, maybe sometime in the future we can take another look, but this is just another incremental step in continuing to bring relief.
This is interesting what's happening in the world. So just this morning, someone's sending an article from a newspaper in St. Kitts and Nevis, where the Prime Minister is criticizing merchants for raising prices, even though they have had a VAT reduction. What are your? I'm sure you have concerns about that as well.
Yeah, we do have concerns, and it's a concern, Dwight, that we have, expressed, and I think successive administrations have expressed. Where, for example, you spoke about reducing the duty. You reduce the duty on an item, and
the price stays the same.
Say, for example, when we did it with chicken from 30%, chicken parts from 30% to 10% in 2022. I had one of the large grocery store chain managers call and said, "Well, Minister, I just want you to know that we're reducing prices, tomorrow or unfortunately, when you have items that are not on the price control list, it's difficult to sort of monitor, because what happens is a merchant will tell you that, yes, I experienced some savings because the duty went down, but my light bill went up, or I'm having to pay more anyhow in the States because shipping, the supply demand issues there, people are charging me more, it's costing more to come in. So it's difficult to sort of police individually to say, well, you didn't pass on the savings, because he said, the merchant might very well say, well, my other costs have gone up. That is why I have to, maintain this price. Now, the key to that, I think, is if we have more competition in terms of sources, the way you can get your goods, other different vendors in the market that you can go to, and a vigilant population that is saying, hey, the duty went down on this, and you haven't adjusted your price, and then some pressure is put in that way. But this is an issue, I think you referenced saying what's happening in St. Kitts, is an issue that's troubling to a lot of governments. And what we can control is things like the tax that we put on. And I think we are in terms of impacting the actual operations. If someone says, well, I have other costs, and so that it's impacting it, it's difficult for government to intervene in that way, other than the items that are on the price control list. And just while I meant too, just to say to the public, sometimes we hear complaints that, about high prices in the store, and the public should know that not all items in the grocery store are price controlled. Mm-hmm. Again, there's about 22, 23 or so items that are price controlled, and in terms of in the store, and there are other items like auto parts, etc. But not everything is price controlled. So I say I say all that to say, Dwight, that to strike that balance between monitoring and regulating, and being interfering, so to speak, in the actual operation, and telling people what their costs are, etc. That's a balance that we have to strike. I think part of it is making sure that customers are educated, they have choice, they are vocal, and they themselves put some pressure on the merchants to say, listen, you have to pass these cost savings on.
Right. So we want to get back to the VAT in a bit, but the opposition is issued a statement, and they're saying that they this is politics here, but saying that they were expecting to hear a lot more from the Prime Minister in terms of crime and corruption for his first national address of the new year. Let's talk about that, why the decision was made not to have a more all-encompassing address, although I'm sure many people were... Well, anyway, let's get your opinion before I say something.
Yeah, I think what the issue is, Dwight, you're in communications. The issues, I think, on top of mind for Bahamians, from my point of view, are cost of living and security, personal security, crime, etc. And I think the Prime Minister used this opportunity to touch on related to the cost of living. Frankly, we debated I think he spoke for about 20, 25 minutes. And, you want to be able to make your point, make sure that people are engaged. There'll be a lot of time to talk about crime and what's happening. As you know, there's the Independent Review Commission legislation that's out for consultation. That's coming to Parliament before the end of this month. So we'll have a lot of time to talk about, what the government is doing in terms of addressing the crime situation, addressing the perception of corruption, making sure that our institutions are properly regulated and there's proper oversight. And so there'll be a lot of time to talk about that. Prime Minister wanted to speak in the beginning of the year to the Bahamian people about what we're trying to do, or what we're doing about helping to bring down the cost of living. That's his prerogative. He wanted to focus on that. We'll have a lot of time to talk about, those other things as the year goes on. And not to say that they're not important, but Prime Minister used, as is his prerogative, this opportunity to speak about some relief that we bring into people.
You already answered this, but people keep sending the questions on our text line and saying, well, toiletries are also necessities. This is also taking a lot of money. Why not include these at this time?
No, we're doing it on food because we have to take these incremental steps. And I'll just say that, and this is quite obvious. But I'll say it. The government gets its funding from. We all wish that we didn't have to pay any taxes, and we didn't have to borrow any money. But that's the way government is funded. All those things are essentials, yes, but the government needs to make steps incrementally to ensure that when it's giving up revenue, you don't have to go back and raise revenue raise taxes or fees on something else. I'll give the example for, let's say, in the UK, their VAT rate, their standard VAT rate, I think is 20%, right? But they have certain items at 5%. And then certain items like food that are zero rated. And so we saw in our history, a few years ago where, in order to have these, lower rates or zero on certain things, you have to raise the rate overall on everything else. And we don't want to do that. What we want to do is to continue to improve our fiscal situation, and then incrementally we can give these more and more breaks. We wanted to start with food, as I said, because that's an essential. And the idea is, as we move on, people can see more positive things in terms of more reductions and eliminations.
Some great questions from our listeners. Someone's asking about, what are you all doing in terms of cutting down on spending? Travel, people always point to that with this administration, travel and other things.
No, it's a legitimate question. And I gave one example, for example, when we talk about amalgamating the management of the two individual drug programs, that's going to cause us to have some savings. We're looking at ways where we can eliminate waste and, make sure that, when the government engages people, we get good quality work for the money, for our taxpayers' money. We continue to do that. The budget it's a lot of the expenditure is fixed in terms of personnel, et cetera, salaries and other fixed commitments. And again, I know there might be the observation, well, the government is bloated, but if you ask the police, they need more people. If you ask the doctors, they need more as well. So we're looking at ways to eliminate waste and improve management. Like the individuals raised the issue of travel. It's an issue where we seek to travel. Some of it is essential, and so we just have to make sure that what we do is essential. A lot of it, most of it, I dare say, is people might get the impression that the travel budget is only government of members of parliament and ministers traveling, but the vast majority of the public is other public servants going to things like training courses, seminars, etc. But we hear the point.
And I think people will say, what about all these consultants? Do you need as many consultants as you have?
Again, the issue of consultants, and this came up during the budget. When you see in the budget, for example, money spent on consultancy fees, that's not, in all cases, actual physical consultants. You have, for example, if you buy a computer program, that goes down as a consultancy. For example, one of the biggest items that is labeled consultancy in the budget is money paid to the operators at the New Providence landfill, who are doing a wonderful job. So sometimes that issue gets conflated. People see a number in the budget, and they think when it says consultancy services, they think, oh, that's consultants that are hired. No, that's professional people who are hired to provide a service to the government. But the point is taken. I mean, and that is why I said earlier, Dwight, the big part, the second actual, the third, but a big part of the government strategy is to grow the economy, improve revenue administration, go after those, not the ordinary person on the street, but those big taxpayers and foreign taxpayers who are very creative in avoiding their responsibility, go after them, and then control spenders. You don't want to have a situation where the Bahamian public is looking and thinking that their money is being wasted. And so we hear all of those, and it's just up to us to continue to impress upon the Bahamian people that we are managing your money, trying to get value for money for you, and doing the best we can. But we hear all of those, and it's legitimate. We have to just make sure that everything we do is essential in terms of where we go. I would say that, in the early years of the administration, particularly in finance, we have had to do a lot of engagement because coming out of the pandemic, our economy was devastated because of it's tourism-based, et cetera. And so we had to do a lot of work to let people know that the Bahamas is open for business and for investment. And we're not falling off the map. We had to do that with investors, with financial institutions, et cetera. So, but the point is taken. I mean, nobody, when everybody is being asked to make a sacrifice, public, that not only they are being asked, but the government and the members of the government is making that same sacrifice.
We know we have to let you go in a bit, but just real quickly, folks are asking if you can provide a detailed list of all the consultants and all the travel and the money and who goes, and is that a possibility going forward?
It's a possibility, yeah. I mean, because what happens is, it is. I mean, every ministry has it, and so, for example, that can be provided. I mean, we can do it during the budget exercise, and so there is a point in the exercise. I don't think a lot of people stay up that late. I mean, because it's might not be so exciting, but there is a point where all of those things are accounted for and debated, and questions are asked in the Parliament. But that can be done. I mean, I can get someone to start to put the numbers together.
I'm sure certain people will stay up late to see that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, but, we understand the concern, because when you say things like consultants, the image might be someone who is just working part-time. and on easy. People might think that you're going on a vacation, but like I say, it's up to us to educate the people and know that we're managing their funds. We're treating it as if it's our own, and trying to get value for money and make every dollar stretch.
Yeah. So, Minister Halkitis, your final word to folks out there. I saw a message earlier in the show. Someone said, well, okay, how will you still sell this to folks who aren't making as much? These things that just a few short years ago, there was no VAT on this. What do you say to people who are still going to be struggling, even though this is a reduction?
I'll say to this, right? I'll say this. Sometimes people equate the breadbasket and think that somehow there was VAT on no food. When you talk about the breadbasket, that's 22 items, and if you take out soap and powdered detergent, that's 20 items. So it's a very finite number of items. With this relief, we are reducing the VAT on all food. And so 3 years ago, yes, there was 0 on the 20 breadbasket items, but there was 12% on everything else in every other food item in the grocery store. Now, all of those food items are going down to 5%. And so it is a saving. And we expect people to see it at the cash register. As I said earlier, Dwight, in response to the individual, yes, we would like to see a tax-free environment. Unfortunately, that is not possible when the government has to provide services for the country. And so we have to, all of us, we have to make a contribution in some way. It is our job, as I said, to make sure we bring relief wherever we can to minimize that, reduce it where we can, and ensure that we show the Bahamian people that when we do collect, we are spending it wisely. Yeah. And so I would say to that individual, this is an incremental step. Look forward to more opportunities for relief, and we look forward to doing it.
Okay.
And so, we're looking at, I think Prime Minister acknowledged, okay, this is look forward to doing.
Minister of Economic Affairs, Senator Michael Halkitis, thank you so much. Always a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hopefully we'll talk again soon in person.
Unfortunately, you heard my phone ringing in the background.
Yeah, you got to go.
I have to leave you at 9 o'clock, but it's been a pleasure sharing with you, and I'll be pleased to come back anytime you'd have me to shed some more light on this or any other issue you might want to.
Yes, lots to talk to you about. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
All right. Yes, you're welcome. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, all. Good morning, Ms. Gardner.
All right, so we're going to take a break and get to the news, and we've got a lot to talk about in business coming up. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
The second time, the same on his dish, except for a couple items. The first time that he missed, he polished all that off in no seconds flat, then swallow a quarter fruit punch on top of that. But alas, said the Bahamian, that meal was out of sight. All I need now is dessert and I will feel alright. He had 5 scoop of ice cream, smothered in whipped cream, plain cake, fruit cake, lemon meringue pie.
Are you craving that fresh, famous food, but don't want to break the bank? Wendy's has got you covered. You can now enjoy the $5 Dave's deal at all participating Wendy's locations. Enjoy a Dave's single, a classic, or spicy chicken sandwich made with fresh ingredients for just $5. So don't compromise on flavor just because you're on a budget. Wendy's always offers fresh, famous food at a great price. Certain conditions apply.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
I've been up at Pinda and I meet him in the showroom. I said, Pinda, I just come out of a showroom in Portugal and let me tell you something, them showroom and selection ain't got nothing on yours. Man, I like this stock of porcelain and ceramic tile you got here. What I really like is the range of sizes that come in, 8 by 48, 12 by 24, 24 by 24, and what I really like more than the things I really like is the price. From $275 a square foot to $494 a square foot and all in between. You can't beat that, not even with a 2x4 from Enterprises.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, but the Tourism Development Corporation helps to develop and grow Bahamian businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what they say, Mike? Oh, yeah. Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do? What does do? Hey, check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
On Saturday, February 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m., the Bahamar Convention Center will set the stage for an unforgettable celebration of 25 years of giving back and supporting healthcare education in the Bahamas. Experience a night of excitement with exquisite fine dining, captivating live entertainment, and an inspiring atmosphere as we come together to celebrate and shape a brighter, healthier future. Tickets are available now. Reserve your spot today by emailing dhfoundation@doctorshosp.com or calling 242-302-4640. Sponsorship opportunities are also available to show your support for this important cause. The Doctors Hospital Maya Rassin Foundation. 25 years of transforming healthcare and building a legacy. Don't miss this special celebration.
This is Guardian, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. A little bit later in the show, if we have time, we're going to get to the Road Traffic Department statement from the Ministry of Energy and Transport about the insurance issue that we've been complaining about for a number of weeks now. The government's policy on requiring insurance in your birth month for your licensing and registering your vehicles. There's been a bit of an adjustment. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But normally on the second Friday each month in Morning Blend Business, we have our Safe and Sound series. But tomorrow's a holiday, Majority Rule Day. So we're doing it today. And Gamal Nuri with Preventative Measures is here on this Thursday for a special edition of Sir, Happy New Year. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Dwight. It's good to be here. Good morning, Bahamas.
All right. So today,
well,
we hope the New Year is treating you well so far.
So far, it's good.
Okay, wonderful.
Another day, another opportunity, eh?
Great stuff. Great stuff. So today we're talking about strengthening corporate security, and exciting topic. We know this is a big topic, but let's do some definitions. What do we mean here when we say corporate security?
Corporate security. Yeah, that's a great place to start, Dwight. Corporate security is strategies, policies, tactics, procedures that a business, small or big, would implement to protect, its four main assets. Those main assets would be its people, and that includes obviously customers and its employees, its information, its reputation, which is often overlooked, and its physical assets. If it's a bank, if it's a hotel, whatever those assets are that have value. These are the strategies that they would develop and use to protect those items from loss and destruction. And on that note, loss meaning anything from theft, intentional, intentional or natural disasters. So if somebody steals an item, or if there's a hurricane or fire, that's loss. And then destruction is obviously if there's some type of event that causes the loss of their destruction of the entire entity.
Mm-hmm. Are we all on the same page here when it comes to business, when it comes to security, or are there certain industries that are way ahead of others?
Well, certainly certain industries that are regulated, they would be a bit ahead of those industries that are not. And obviously what comes to mind is the financial sector, which is heavily regulated. So they would have robust loss prevention, corporate security programs, whereas perhaps another industry, let's say like a food store or a mom and pop store, a hairdresser, those industries are not necessarily regulated, so they don't have the type of review, assessments, mandatory requirements as it pertains to things like cyber, as it pertains to things like employee safety. They're not mandated by law or regulation to have those types of processes in place. So some industries, yes, hotels would be again another industry that is regulated, that it's monitored. So they would have to implement certain minimum standards to ensure that their properties are safe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and before we get into the tips, I want to know, I mean, how much of an impact does ineffective corporate security, have on your business, on your bottom line?
But we've harped on this on numerous occasions. It has the impact is that you're now prone to different loss events, strategy, and that is a challenge that I have as I go into different businesses. Some businesses figure, well, I have cameras, and then that's the end of it. Or some businesses figure that we have a security guard, or we have a fence, or we have a dog, and that's the end of it. But they don't see the full holistic application of a corporate security program that requires more than just having a security guard or a camera. It goes all the way from your vetting process. Who are you letting into your facility? You have cameras, but the person who installed the camera is perhaps has nefarious intent. So all of those things have to be looked at, or should be looked at, to ensure that you're able to deliver a holistic program and protect your entity from loss.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So let's talk about, at least on the basic level, and then we'll work our way up. Some things that are a given that you need to have if you are in business and don't want to just be giving away everything you've got. Some basic corporate security tips that you recommend that people need.
Well, fundamentally, in any corporate security program, and I always harp on this, I stress this, you should do an assessment of what you need. What are the priorities of your program? Don't just willy-nilly throw cameras out there, and your cameras are not looking at the key entry points. Your cameras are not looking at your high risk or high vulnerability points. So you need to have a plan, and a risk assessment helps you to strategize and create that plan and prioritize your risk. Your risk. This is fundamental. And again, you go into a business, and even some of them, they don't even have risk assessment. They don't do a security risk assessment at an enterprise level. Again, we have a camera system, and that's it. So we can see what happened. But what about the preventative measures, for lack of a better word, that you can implement to reduce those loss events and minimize the impact it has on your business? We're going into 2025, and fundamentally, I think as a priority, these are the emerging threats. And then I say emerging, they're ongoing because they've been with us for a while. And I would say certainly cyber risks, cyber threats. We are moving to digitalization aggressively in some instances, and you have to play catch up. The lockdowns and COVID demonstrated that need to be that you had to play catch up because a lot of businesses resisted the cyber implications, but they were made to get on board with cyber or digital business, and they weren't ready for it. And so you saw a lot of abuse, you saw a lot of manipulation, you saw a lot of persons being taken advantage of because they just weren't ready for a cyber-based business that's taking the world over. That's, like I said, it's aggressively taking the world over.
Yeah.
You go into some businesses and they don't even accept cash anymore. They just want you to swipe your card, and that's for their protection. Your protection is, but then are you prepared for that type of landscape?
And how much training for the staff is a requirement?
When we're talking about cyber risks, managing those cyber risk, a cyber awareness program, minimum training, because again, it's a holistic approach. So if you're rolling out a robust corporate security program, you want to at minimum know that an access point to your business is no only access point. Let me make sure we understand where I'm coming from. There's no longer just a front door. I can access your business via an email. I send an email in requesting a service. That's access to your business because your business is going to respond. We're going to start to transact information in the first instance. What do you want? How much you want to spend? Then you're going to give me, I'm going to give you credit card information so I can transact. You're going to give me your account information so I can wire money to. So I'm in your business. But I'm in Timbuktu and you're still in the Bahamas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in your business. So the staff need to be aware of those potential gaps within that access point, meaning email. How does the staff manage the digital communication platforms? Last evening, we heard the Prime Minister talk about, creating an app, and everybody is an app for this, there's an app for that. And what are the vulnerabilities of apps now? What are the vulnerabilities related to now? Another new fad is the QR codes. So they're up, and but those are also gateways into your device, into your business. So these little vulnerabilities or access points, staff need to be made aware of those things so they know that they shouldn't just go around scanning QR codes or answering any email or clicking on anything. So those types of simple training programs, and knowing if it goes beyond their level of control, then they should know where to escalate it to the IT department, how to manage that particular exposure or the potential exposure.
Yeah, I know you always, whenever you want to talk about having the training on a physical level with the staff and to go through all the scenarios, whether it's hurricane or robberies, whatever. Are we seeing that done here? Do staff members generally know if this is happening? We've been told to go here, do this, do that. Are you seeing that on a widespread scale?
Not necessarily. Again, and this is why I started off with the cyber aspect of it. If your business is now a physical based business where you have a movement of a lot of persons in and out, and so there's infrastructure there, and there's the potential for someone to physically come in and take control of those premises. There's the potential of a fire. Then those would be some of the things that you would drill. Again, the more regulated industries, there's mandatory twice a year fire drills or evacuation drills. Does that happen with smaller businesses that do not have the heavy regulator, or they're going to be audited or anything of that sort? Not necessarily the case. And even with businesses that are where it's a requirement, you still have the reluctancy of staff to participate and to even adhere to those types of policies, because the thing is, it's not happening. When was the last time there was a fire in our office, or why are we practicing a fire drill? So that type of drill now needs to migrate also to the potential of somebody coming and taking the business hostage. So if there is a active shooter, for example, on the premises, all of those things can be rolled into one, because there's evacuation type drills, and they can also what you call shelter in place type drills, where you lock yourself away into a particular safe space in that business. Are they happening? It's not a focus, but we see that it's happening around the world, and we cannot be naive in the Bahamas to think that it show its head here in some form or fashion in one way or the other.
Yeah. Forgive me if this is straying a little bit from corporate security, but I mean, we're seeing the videos almost weekly out of the U.S. where people are just going into stores and taking whatever they want. And a lot of the stores have policies where employees are not to engage these folks. Yeah, let's talk about that. Is that a sensible policy? What are the do's and the don'ts, the pros and the cons of all of that type of that policy?
Well, the no chase policy came about when the employer has to weigh the risk of having that staff member engage a shoplifter, and that situation becomes violent. And that staff member, be it security or just a store clerk, engages that shoplifter, and it becomes violent, and the employee is injured, or the employee injures the shoplifter. America is very litigious, and you could get in trouble for trying to stop something from happening. So that no chase policy came about. We're looking at a $10 item, right? The guy lifted a $10 item. You saw him, and you're going to chase him, and then now it turns into a $10 million lawsuit. So you weigh that risk, and you're like, you know what? Let them take that $10 item, and we'll recover that loss. It's insured, that type of thing. So that's how no chase came into play. Now, obviously, what we see happening in a lot of areas in the U.S., especially in California, and up in the Atlanta area in particular, Los Angeles, those cities.
Did we lose you, Gamal?
So that's a different dynamic. But again, the employer, the business owner has to weigh, hey, if we chase and engage, and this customer is injured because our security guard, did a football tackle, and this guy got a concussion, or the security guard went after the person and he broke his leg in an attempt to subdue, and now we weigh. It was only $10, but now, like I said, it's a $10 million. So you have to weigh that risk. So yeah, it is. Again, it depends on your business. It depends on your, what we call in the business, your risk appetite. Can you afford this? You may have a threshold that, hey, we can take $10,000 regards to shoplifting and theft, and then that's where we break even, or so it has to be you. And this goes back to what we talked about earlier. You did a risk assessment that covers all aspects of the business. From financial stability to reputation to operations, all of those things are taken into consideration to ensure that when I send someone to, or decide not to send someone, it's the best advantageous to my operations.
Right. From what you know, I mean, they might not want people to know that they do have these policies, but from what you know, do the merchants here have strategies to combat this? Do they have a plan for this? From what you see and know?
From what I'm aware of, from my understanding, no, I don't see it, because again, for the most part, it's in retail stores, and I'm not aware of a no chase policy here. I'm aware of, if you get caught shoplifting, you're going to get held. If your security officer or your staff is very vigilant, you're going to be held, and they exercise reasonable force, and don't jeopardize your business. But I think in the most instances you're going to get held. If you've seen in the past, especially like in food stores, where the security officer would take the individual to the back room and they'll be held, and sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes there's some type of punitive, or I don't know if punitive is the right word, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Where some people
You're
are
dealt
taken to that
with
back room and
physically.
dealt with, yes, yeah. And that's not the best thing.
Mm.
That's not the best thing. It's not the right thing, because they're not resisting. They're in your custody and care. You've detained them, and now you're gonna cut hip for Bahamian vernacular. No, you're very much in the wrong. But you can hold them, because that's, if it's in your view, that's what we call a citizen's arrest. So if that person is seen moving the item, you can hold them, provided that they're not aggressively resisting, because now it becomes very gray on how much force can you use? Is that force reasonable? Things of that nature.
Yeah. Wow. All right. What are some other things that people need to keep in mind? I see that this is a common thing now, or becoming more common, especially in larger companies, where employees and definitely the public only have access to certain parts of the building, and some employees cannot access this department or this room. What are the pros and cons of that?
The pros and cons is segregation, compartmentalization of your business. I think that is a good idea, because if I'm working in a particular area, let's say, I'm working in customer service, right? There's no need for me to have access to the entire operation. Let's say to the accounting office or to the HR office, or things of that sort. So yes, I certainly agree with segregation and compartment. What you have to take in mind, the con obviously is that if in the event of an emergency, you need to have systems in place to ensure that everybody now can exit. And that exit may take me through an area that is usually restricted to me. So you want to bear in mind that yes, we're going to put in restrictions. We're gonna lock away certain sensitive areas, but that sensitive area may also be where there's an emergency exit. And so I should be able to have that emergency exit as an option, regardless of what the normal operating procedure is. So under the emergency, those persons need to be able to exit the area. Those are my concerns when you do that. So you have to balance that to ensure that normal operations, you can go in this area. This is not where you work, but under the emergency, I'm able to escape through the nearest emergency exit. So things of that nature. Those are some of the pros and cons of having that type of separation in your business.
Okay. All right. We're talking with Kamal.
Important note, Dwight, and ensure that you test the emergency exit so it can open.
Oh boy.
The companies have gone into businesses and the emergency exit is locked. There's no push bar. There's a key that's secured, and during a panic, if it's dark, there's panicked. You're not going to remember where that key is. You're going to fumble. You're going to cause a stampede. Persons are going to get injured in the mere fact of just trying to get out of the building, because in your mind, the emergency exit should be locked during operational hours. I don't support that. I think, from my recall, I know it's a fire risk to have those exits locked during a normal operating procedure. Conditions.
Wow. We're talking with Kamal Nuri with Preventative Measures. It's our monthly Safe and Sound series. Any other things that people need to keep in mind? Corporate security.
Oh, definitely, Dwight. We talked about compartmentalization, right? But certainly there's workplace violence continues to be a very silent norm that's here, and does not get the type of publicity that a armed robbery would get, that some type of attack would get. But there are instances where you have aggressive customers that are coming into your business and making threats to your staff, making threats to other customers. So you want to ensure that you have policies and procedures, and going back to the point, Dwight, training that tells the staff, how should I manage this encounter? How do I appreciate? What do I appreciate about the psychology of the individual who's ranting and raving? That it's not a rant and rave to me personally. It's more directed at the business. You encounter this a lot when you go into a retail store, or perhaps into a commercial bank, where the customer gets irate because certain procedures or finances weren't available, and they begin to become very aggressive to that teller or that customer service rep. How do you manage that and don't take it personal that it's not being directed to you? It's definitely being directed to the business because the certain expectations were not met during the encounter of the at the business.
Wow.
Similarly, as that can escalate, because that can escalate into an active threat or actual violence, the business needs to explain to the staff member, where is the line drawn? It's a customer and they're aggressive, but you don't lose that right to self-defense if it becomes a physical confrontation. And they need to train staff to be certainly, what we say back in the day. I don't know if this is past your age, right? With sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can't hit. So when you get that verbal bombardment, build, toughen up, suck it up, as they would say. But certainly if somebody becomes physical, you have that right to defend yourself. You have the right to report it to the police because that goes beyond the business environment. If the person is threatening you, you have that right to report that threat to the police because that's a physical threat to you. You're working at a business and then they see you someplace else, they're still angry. You don't know how far that's going to go. So those types of things.
That's crazy stuff. We're seeing so many videos like that. But you always, when you watch these videos 5 minutes in and there's no security guard, you're like, wait. There's always a security guard, but never when these things happen. It's
and what
really
was
quite something.
But going back to the security program, right? What was the directives of the security guard? See, again, if we focus back to the security guard, which is usually the beginning and end all of many corporate security programs, right? But what was the directive? Is the security guard a bouncer? Is he to physically engage and to stop a physical encounter? What does your policy say? Is he insured? All of these things you have to clear in your development of your plan. We take for granted, okay, he's security. So, okay, he is a security, but what is his role? What is his job description? He may be directed by your company that hired him to just be a trained observer.
Wow.
Hey, if something's happening, you're only to observe. So now the employee has an expectation because the queue, quote unquote, the queue is there, but the queue is not a bouncer. And unfortunately, with many security companies in country, they have not been, the officer has not been given any skill sets to manage a physical encounter. But there's an assumption that he's security, he's there, and he should be doing certain things.
Yeah, wow.
And that's not within the policy or the agreement with the business and the guard service provider.
My goodness.
So we have to be, we see the video, but we don't understand the full dynamics of what is supposed to be happening.
Wow. Callers, will get to you in a second. When you said workplace violence, I thought you were going to say between the employees, but that's something else. Okay.
No, that comes under it as well.
Yeah.
It comes under it as well. Is there defined? You started off, with a definition. What is the definition of workplace violence for your business? Because workplace violence can be attributed to the two groups: the employees against employees, employees against customers, or customers against employees, or customers against customers. Because all of this is occurring in your workplace. So how do you define that? How do you define that in your policy? And what are the guidelines for those different tiers on what the response should be? And usually it's the end. There's usually a penalty for the end. This person will no longer be allowed to come into the store, immediate termination. But that's the end. What are you supposed to do during the actual event? What is your policy for that?
Yeah. Okay. Kamal, let's take these calls. We've got a couple messages as well before we let you do your final points on this. But good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Mr. Nduri. Listen.
Good morning.
I have seen signs posted in several of our public institutions that in the event of the fire, you should follow the employees outside. And you honestly think a fire come out and they tell all employees, get in line, I was come behind them? Whose idea was that? Do you think that's a good policy?
The verbiage is not correct because, like you said, it's suggesting that you follow. it's suggesting that you follow the employees, and that may not be the best call depending on where you are in the business. So the verbiage perhaps, but that sign perhaps needs to be corrected.
All right.
To
Please
give more
listen to me.
comfort to
I
the
don't know.
customer.
You probably have seen them around. Please make that suggestion, because you're nobody in the right mind. If there's a fire, go put the law of the jungle is self-preservation. You know what I mean? You get no choice.
Right.
All right. Thanks, and have a good day.
Right. Well,
No
I
problem.
mean, I think most will understand they mean exit the direction the employees are going, not necessarily to wait behind. But anyway, okay. But yes,
see,
the language can be tweaked, I'm sure.
That and see, Dwight, this is so important. The sign, and the gentleman is correct. See, the sign sends a message. So again, what are you putting out there for instructions for an emergency or for any type of activity? Sometimes we need to really go back and read some of these signs to make sure it doesn't confuse individuals or give them the wrong impression.
Right.
But go ahead.
Caller, good morning. You're on Morning Blend Business.
Good morning to you guys.
Hi, good morning.
Well, like you and you guys are saying to the last caller, Dwight, that depends on the situation. You know what I mean? Because he may be running in one direction where the fire started and you need to go in the next direction. So I guess that's a matter of assessing the situation when it actually happened. You know, because he ain't want to be going in one direction on the aircraft, but everybody going in the next direction. You know what I mean? So you got to assess the situation. But to the officer there, we had a nice little argument in the Junkanoo Shack a while back about to the do's and don'ts of security officers. A situation, the security officer suspects a customer of shoplifting. What are his do's and don'ts in a situation like that in terms of detain or arrest? I'll hang up and listen to your response.
Yeah, so we just talked about this, but Gamal, I guess you can go through it again really quickly. Oh, well, it depends, right?
Yeah, it depends on what the directive the business gives that security officer. And as in the Bahamas in particular, there's very little directives given to security officers other than, hey, this is where I want you to stand. But what am I supposed to do? Those questions aren't answered. There's what we call a post orders, or for those of us with law enforcement or military background, it's called rules of engagement. All right, this is what you should do when this occurs. And depending on the business, it could be engage, we restrain, make the arrest, but under what conditions? Because again, it isn't where it's a security officer sees the offense in their view. That's one thing. But now here comes a manager saying to the security officer, I saw this person do this. It becomes kind of gray because the security officer didn't see the actual offense occur. Okay, so it becomes kind of gray. But I think fundamentally, for any security officer, they should be able to give a detailed report of what occurred and be able to speak to, the individual. Hopefully, there's a surveillance system in place so that there can be a photograph taken and then that particular incident is reported to the police. But it becomes very difficult if that's not seen in the view of the security officer. If the shoplifting is not seen. Now, if, let's say, for example, another employee takes the individual into there and says, Q, I saw this person, right? Then you have some backup to assist the other employee in not restraining that individual, because the other employee now has actually made, and so we have to make sure, lay out what is the expectation of the security officer so they can act accordingly.
Yeah, I think we have to do a whole show on this again, because around here it seems like we only have two types of security officers. One who will have too much to say to customers, like you can't come in here with those pants on, and then the other one who will just stand by while customers throwing all their shoes at you and not do anything. So I don't know. There's very little middle ground, it seems, in many places around here, but that's just my observation. I don't know. Okay, so your final points, Gamal, on strengthening corporate security, what needs to be done, and what companies need to be thinking about, and also what consumers should be concerned about when they go to places and see security measures that might be lacking or have concerns about their information and how well it is secured at an entity.
But what I definitely like to remind the corporate citizens about is that we just saw, I think it was last week, Trinidad and Tobago had a state of emergency, and it was criminal based. It wasn't a health risk; it was a criminal risk, and we have to be mindful that here in the Bahamas that there is the potential for violent crime. There's the potential for cyber crimes. There's the potential for multiple types of crimes. You need to assess your risk. You need to ensure that, whatever your industry is, that you're aware of the various loss potentials and implement the necessary protocols to reduce those loss. So if you're looking at something like critical infrastructure, like a power plant or water plant doing to manage their water supply or their power, what type of security measures do they have in place? And this is outside of the obvious health and safety issues that may exist, but certainly what type of security measures that they are have in place to minimize the attacks on those critical infrastructures. Uh, we are also impacted by organized crime and insider threats. So, whereas in your business, there may not be the actual peddling of drugs per se, but certainly there may be opportunities for money laundering that exist in your business. And all of this comes under your need to be in compliance with certain regulations that are out there. So, are you doing background checks? Are you monitoring employees? Do you know what type of acts we talked about earlier, Dwight, about segregation of duties and segregation of access to certain businesses? So you want to, those types of things are not just from a physical security per se, but they also from a regulatory perspective, where I don't have access to these areas, where I could now conduct nefarious activities. My access on your cybers on your digital platform is restricted to ensure that I can only do certain types of operations within my job description. So those things are important, and I say that goes. I'm speaking to that not just at a surface level, but that individual could be used or be manipulated by a larger crime network. And when the investigation occurs, you see that that individual is actually, maybe moving money on behalf of some organized local or international crime organization. And it has happened. It is happening here in country. So what are you doing as a business to minimize that threat? We talked about natural disasters, and we obviously we are very sensitized to hurricanes. We have that pretty down pack in regards to we know when it's going to happen, but then we also have to be mindful of these unexpected disasters, be it someone causing damage to your premises, a fire, some type of crash, that type of thing. What are your preparedness mechanisms as it relates to the ability to continue your business in to deliver your service? So those things have to be a part of your corporate security portfolio. Your supply chain. How are you going to get a particular product that's needed to deliver this particular service? So how is your supply chain being impacted? When I speak to this, a lot of persons say, well, what does this have to do with security? But remember, security is preventing loss. Security is ensuring that your business can operate. This is a corporate security perspective. So it may not be security in the most traditional sense of it, where I just have a security guard. But certainly, if I'm not able to get the supplies into my business, then I'm going to lose money. I'm going to lose my reputation is going to be damaged by my inability to deliver the service. You imagine going to a conch shack. I don't call it no names, right? But they ain't got no conch. Wow. Why you selling conch? Why you say crack conch and you ain't got no conch?
My goodness.
It's a reputational issue. And it's as simple as that is, right? I mean, I bring it up because I was touched personally on that recently, right?
Oh, boy.
I'm not going to call their names, right? But they don't have any conch. What are you talking about?
Oh, man, I'm sure that hurt.
So supply chain. Of course, they say it was the weather, right? And go out, right? But come on, man, you're supposed to have a backup plan if that's one of your highlights of your service.
Wow.
Should have a backup plan. Business
Absolutely.
continuity, Dwight. Business continuity.
Right. All right. So how can folks reach you to get more information to ensure that they have the right plan and do the strengthening that's needed for their corporate security?
So, Dwight, I can be reached on social media, Gamal Nuri, GamalNewry. I can also be reached at 242-357-9949. Preventative Measures is the name of my company. We're on all of the social media platforms, and we'll be glad to assist and helping you to make your programs more robust and prevent loss.
Excellent
Preventative
stuff.
measures.
As always, Gamal Nuri, Preventative Measures, thank you so much for being here with Safe and Sound today, and hopefully we will talk again soon. We're going to take a break and be back to wrap things up on this Thursday before the holiday weekend. Have a good one, Gamal.
Okay, Dwight, thank you, and you guys enjoy the rest of the day. Have a good one.
All right, we'll be back in just a bit. Stay with us. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
I can show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be. You could be my luck. Even if the sky is falling down, I know that we'll be safe and sound.
This holiday season, give the gift that lasts a lifetime. Financial freedom with CFAL. Whether you're looking to take the stress out of holiday giving or plan for the future, CFAL has you covered. With our suite of savings products, you can start with a minimal upfront investment and low monthly contributions. Get a jump start with 2025 financial goals with CFAL Savings Express, or give the little ones a head start with the CFAL Education Plan. You can also secure your own future with the CFAL Blue Marlin Retirement Plan. Make your gift count with CFAL, where small savings lead to brighter futures. Visit CFAL.com today to start building wealth so you can live well. Happy holidays from all of us at CFAL.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
This holiday season, give the gift that lasts a lifetime. Financial freedom with CFAL. Whether you're looking to take the stress out of holiday giving or plan for the future, CFAL has you covered. With our suite of savings products, you can start with a minimal upfront investment and low monthly contributions. Get a jump start with 2025 financial goals with CFAL Savings Express, or give the little ones a head start with the CFAL Education Plan. You can also secure your own future with the CFAL Blue Marlin Retirement Plan. This holiday season, make your gift count with CFAL, where small savings lead to brighter futures. Visit CFAL.com today to start building wealth so you can live well. Happy holidays from all of us at CFAL.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The government is developing legislation to combat anti-competitive behavior in business, which would assist significantly in controlling the rising cost of goods. That's according to the Prime Minister in his national address last night, saying that Chairman of the Bahamas Trade Commission, Senator Barry Griffin, will be spearheading this initiative. Davis, in his address, explained that the government is also preparing to launch its National Trade Diversification Program to encourage and incentivize retailers and distributors to source goods from a broader range of trusted international trading partners. Griffin calling Davis's economic agenda a game changer as the country faces trade uncertainty with the incoming presidency of U.S. President Donald Trump, or President-elect, and growing political tensions globally. Meanwhile, the Shadow Minister of Finance, Kwesi Thompson, saying the government's progress on digitization in the public sector has been too slow. In a release to the media, Thompson said the previous F&M administration between 2017 and 2021, led by Dr. Minnis, laid a solid digital foundation, but the current Davis administration has, quote, failed to build upon it with the urgency and vision required to propel the nation forward in this digital age, causing the Bahamas economy to lag behind other Caribbean countries. Thompson says that the Minnis administration understood that embracing technology was not merely an option, but a necessity for the country's growth, efficiency, and prosperity. Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder, KC, says that there will be an addition of a civil magistrates court in 2025, and most legal proceedings will now be recorded digitally. Winder is saying during the opening of the legal year yesterday that there will be an expansion of digital technology to assist with the hearing of matters in the Family Islands. He further pledged that the role of magistrates will be placed on select Family Islands for 2025. And Sterling Global Financial releasing a statement warning that an entity has been claiming that it is the owner of Sky Beach Resort and Spa on Eleuthera. Sterling warning the public against following up claims relating to the sale or development of Sky Beach Resort and Spa by this entity. Sterling says that a website purporting to represent Sky Beach is not an official website of the property and has no affiliation with Sterling Global Financial. Overseas, in one of the most important cases of the social media age, free speech and national security collide at the Supreme Court Friday in the U.S. in arguments over the fate of TikTok, the wildly popular digital platform that roughly half the people in the United States use for entertainment and information. TikTok says it plans to shut down the social media site in the U.S. by January 19th unless the Supreme Court strikes down or otherwise delays the effective date of a law aimed at forcing TikTok's sale by its Chinese parent company. Working on a tight deadline, the justices also have before them a plea from President-elect Donald Trump, who has dropped his earlier support for the ban, to give him and his new administration time to reach a political resolution and avoid deciding the case. It's unclear if the court will take the Republican president-elect's views, a highly unusual attempt to influence a case. TikTok and China-based ByteDance, as well as content creators and users, argue the law is a dramatic violation of the Constitution's free speech guarantee. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Wednesday. Your market movers: Cable Bahamas moving 165 shares, closing at 351 unchanged. Commonwealth Bank moving 1,000, down 2 cents to $5.05. Fidelity Bank moving 1,000, down 99 cents to $16.01. Consolidated Water up 10 cents, closing at $5.16, and Emira Incorporated closing at 9 cents. That's your BISX All-Share Index closing at 3,007.39, down 1.01. That's your Market Watch, and that is your Morning Business Report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And we're back here, our final minute of the show for today. Laverne, really, this statement that came out yesterday from the Ministry of Energy and Transport on the Road Traffic Amendment Act, and noting that road safety was a priority for the government. Again, we have totally agreed with their planned crackdown on people driving without insurance. Something has to be done. In the statement, it noted that more than 4,000 traffic tickets were issued in 2024 for unlicensed and uninsured vehicles. And it says the presence of unlicensed and uninsured vehicles on the road compromises public safety and places road users at a greater risk of loss. Totally agree. It was the issue about requiring insurance holders to obtain that insurance in their birth month while they have to register and inspect their vehicles. That was causing some concern due to the high costs in the country, but they have adjusted this a bit for this year and going forward. I'll read this part for you. Once a valid insurance policy is presented to the Road Traffic Department, your vehicle will be inspected and licensed. For 2025 renewals only, the Road Traffic Department will accept an existing unexpired insurance policy. However, upon the expiration of the existing policy, the owner must ensure that they possess a valid insurance policy bearing a minimum of coverage of 6 months. So, from what we understand, some are being told already that for this year, when they renew, people will need to make sure they have a year plus the additional months that will take it to 6 months past their birth date if they don't want to do it in their birth month. So at least initially, it'll be some cost to you.
Right, we are punishing. We are really punishing the people who obey the law and do what is right.
Yeah.
When we do these kinds of things. Because if we have people out there, yes, and I know our time is up, who do not have insurance.
And they
they're
don't
driving
care.
around.
Yeah.
This, and
This
they
won't-
don't care.
this will not change
new
their attitude.
law isn't going to change their attitude. It's not going to change their attitude. It's not going to cause them to say, oh my God, let me go and get insurance. It's just not. However, for both of us to make sure that we are doing, we're coming up out of pocket and
Yeah.
all, and it's frustrating.
It is.
So
It is.
I get the, trying to figure out how can we cut down on people. How you cut down on them is if they're on the road, they cannot produce their insurance, then it's something immediate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Vehicle, arrest them, whatever.
And we need to make sure that it is that you're not allowed to only take out insurance for 6 months. That that if you cannot prove that you no longer have the vehicle and you've canceled your insurance, that something needs to be done with you as well. So again, we applaud the government for what they're doing here, but they're going to create some hardships for some other people who've been doing the right thing, and that is all that we've been saying. This is a middle ground approach that. It's better than what they were proposing earlier. And so we can...
But still.
What was that last part, sorry?
I said, it is better than what they were
better than what it was
proposing,
before. But still going to
Yeah.
be hard, at least initially, for folks this year. And so, boy, we'll continue to talk about it. We got to go. Have a wonderful Majority Rule Day, everybody. Be safe. I'll be back on Monday. Laverne, we'll talk with you soon. Monday here for more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.